We are live as KRC presents the next race of the NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005 Busch Series Custom Schedule season for the running of the MBNA America 200 at the Dover International Raceway. I'm Keegan Schneider. Welcome everybody to this Wednesday night action, Hump Day edition of NASCAR 05. We have just 8 races to go on the season heading into tonight's race at Dover. Our driver Greg Biffle currently has a 222-point lead over Ron Hornaday after a win and a max points day at Darlington last night. Greg Biffle comes into this race with a big win streak going for him as he has won the last 4 Busch Series races, including 4 of the last 5 and 5 of the last 7 races have been won by Greg Biffle this season, giving him a grand total of 15 wins on the year. We'll see if he can get another one tonight at the Monster Mile as he goes for the Dover sweep after leading all 200 laps from the pole in the first race here earlier this season. Like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content as we are getting ready to get started for another live race commentary on the NASCAR video game side of things. We do live realistic commentary every day on the channel when it comes to NASCAR, whether it is the video games during the week or the actual NASCAR races on the race weekend. So this weekend we will be at Darlington NASCAR will be at Darlington, and we will be doing the live commentary for the NASCAR Cup Series race on Sunday afternoon starting at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the throwback race. We'll have live commentary on the channel for that. So thank you everybody for tuning in, and let's get this race underway. Greg Biffle starting from the pole for the second Dover race just like he did earlier in the season, looking to dominate again as well. Green flag is in the air as the Biffle lead the field to the green. For Express, Santiago Kent, and Alan Barkley, thanks for being the first ones down in the chat below. Biffle led all 200 laps at the Monster Mile earlier this season. We'll see if he can do the same thing in the second race today. And we'll see if this number 60 Charter Ford will be just as fast as it was earlier this year at this racetrack. So far, so good through lap 1. A clean start for Greg Biffle. He'll lead the opening lap from the pole to score 5 bonus points towards the season championship. In a season-long points format, no playoff or chase format for the Busch Series on the 2004 custom schedule season. Biffle trying to go for 5 wins in a row in the Busch Series tonight. Trying to keep the streak alive. Kyle Busch is quickly up to second place after qualifying in row number 2. And he's trying to run down Greg Biffle in the opening laps. Number 5, Lowe's Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports is being wheeled by Kyle Busch. Michael Turner, welcome to the stream as well. Watch out for Miles the Monster. Indeed, he could strike at any given time during this race today. We've had 1 caution in each of the last 2 races. And our first race at Dover went caution-free earlier this season through all 200 laps. It definitely allowed for Biffle to lead every lap in the race. And it should be a 1 pit stop race today, especially if we go caution-free again. Kyle Busch putting a lot of pressure on Greg Biffle in the early going. That's something Biffle didn't have a lot of pressure on. It was fast from the word go, and from the drop of the green flag, really pulled away from the field. But Busch is trying to put up a fight in the early going in the second Dover race this season. Looking low off of turn 2. Seems like he's getting off the exit of the corners a little bit better than Biffle. Biffle's getting the drive in and able to protect the bottom at least. Biffle just ran as fast as the first 6 laps of the race, that last lap as well, and Busch still closed on him. A little mistake by Biffle into turn 1. And Kyle Busch is all over the back bumper of Greg Biffle off turn 2. Putting pressure on the Biff. Biffle led all but 3 laps last night at Darlington, led 144 of the 147 laps. So if he could get dominance in today's race like he did at Dover earlier this season, This is obviously the hottest Biffle has been in the Busch Series season so far. 15 wins in the first 23 races, but again, 5 in a row coming into this one today. By far the most amount of wins he's had consecutively this season. I guess 4 coming into the day, but that's still the most he's had in a row this season in the Busch or Cup Series, and trying to go for 5 today, and it's definitely a track he could do it. It's going to be tough, though, if he does win today, to keep that alive on Friday night, because we go to Talladega next, and I don't have very good luck at that track on this game, on the EA Sports games in general. It's a hard track to win at as it is, especially for myself in the EA Sports game. Consistent 22.9s, and that was Biffle's fastest lap on lap 10 that last time. Dropped it down to a 22.932 that last lap. Ooh, Biffle in the wall off turn 2. It's the second time he's gotten in the wall. That one a lot harder. And Kyle Busch closes into 3 and 4 because of it. So hard to pass at Dover. You saw that throughout the racing this weekend in real life when the NASCAR Xfinity Series and Cup Series were at Dover. Same thing is going to be on the precedence with these Gen 4 cars in this game tonight, and in this race tonight. Matt Kenseth is NASCAR Hall of Fame. He deserved it. Was the, did they induct the drivers today? Because I honestly had zero clue that they did that. If they did. You have to let me know down in the comment section who got voted in. I was at work today, so I have zero clue if that was today or not, or who got in. Biffle just keeps overdriving turns 1 and 2. He's pretty good in 3 and 4, but 1 and 2 he's definitely struggled at times. Just being a little inconsistent in the early going of this race. He's actually fast enough to qualify in the pole on lap 1. He didn't even have to run the second lap. He was given to. And third place is slowly catching up as Kyle Busch seems to be taking his time with Biffle in the early going. He just wants to stay with it, knowing that 200 lap race, although it's not long, especially considering this is only a 1 mile racetrack. But if he could just keep close, maybe his pit crew could cycle himself out in front of Greg Biffle. Busch going for his second win of the season. He put up a fight 2 races ago at Michigan, came up just short, battled Biffle in the closing laps. Actually had the lead until Biffle got around him with about 3.5 laps to go after Busch had cycled ahead of Biffle through the final pit stop of the race. One car just blew an engine and was able to make it to pit road, so we continued to stay green. Couldn't tell who it was, but it was a white car of some sort. Shelmerdine, Kenseth, McGriff, and Helton got in today. Oh, Mike Helton got in. That's interesting. I didn't know they inducted sanctioning body. Some of the NASCAR folks from the sanctioning body in the Hall of Fame. .905 that last lap as Biffle's just continuously getting quicker as this run now approaches 20 laps. There's another car slow in turns 3 and 4 with an engine failure. We had 3 engine failures in the first 59 laps last night at Darlington, but they were the only 3 we had the entire race. 2 of them in the first 20 laps today. Another lighter colored car. Could not tell who it was on the pit road. 2 drivers already done. Pretty much a 2-horse race for the championship right now. Do not count Ron Hornaday out of it, especially with Talladega coming up for the next race on Friday night. But if Biffle keeps his hot streak going, he's going to be tough to beat for the championship the rest of the season. That's cool, McGriff is able to get inducted while he is older, but hopefully he's healthy enough that he can be there and give his speech. It'd be pretty cool. Always love hearing some of the stories that those older and old-time drivers have to tell, especially on a big stage like that. Hear a story we've never heard before. Biffle a little faster than Busch the last few laps. Biffle's pulled back ahead about 0.3 of a second ahead of Kyle Busch. Can Kyle Busch keep the long-run pace that Greg Biffle has and seems to have in his race car? Biffle just ran his fastest lap yet at 22.827. Again, Biffle's getting quicker as the air pressure builds up and as this run continues to go longer and longer to start this race. It's going to make it harder on Kyle Busch to try and keep pace. Mark DeMars and R6R6, welcome to the stream. I don't know why I'm sweating already. It's really hot in my room tonight. My goodness. Only 25 laps in. It's not even like it's that warm outside either. I wonder if the heat's on. That might be it. Because it's not cold. I mean, like, it's in the mid-50s outside, but it's not cold enough to have the heat on. I wonder if the heat's on. That's why I'm warm. Because it's usually a lot warmer in my room than any other room in the house. Upstairs in a 2-story building. Heat rises. Kyle Busch still within a few tenths of a second. Greg Biffle's definitely getting more consistent, hitting his marks the more and more laps we get. It's one thing I've noticed with a lot of races this season. Even if he struggles out of the gate, he seems to get better and better as the race carries on. Again, a little bit of an overdrive in turns 1 and 2. Wasn't terrible, though. A 0.4 of a second lead over Kyle Busch. If we get any cautions in this one, though, it's going to be interesting to see how it's going to play out, considering the race went caution-free at Dover earlier this season. Both the cautions we've had in the last 2 races, even though we only had 1 in each race, were both early in the race, and we finished the race with over a 100-lap green flag run at both Michigan and Darlington in the last 2 Busch races. So maybe if the trends are speaking that if we do see a yellow, it'll be in the first half of tonight's race. Also, the most laps we've had in a race in a little bit in the Busch Series. I think you have to go back to Kansas was last time we had this many laps in a race. It was a little bit shorter of a racetrack than Kansas. Shouldn't take as long. Kyle Busch has closed right back in on Greg Biffle again. Biffle's still running 22.9s for the most part. Busch might have overdrove turn 1. He goes way up to the outside in turns 1 and 2. He blew that corner. He got to the back bumper of the 60 again and quickly falls back to about 0.3 of a second off the lead again as well. And the handling of Biffle's race car seems to be pretty good in the early going as well. Back in the 22.8s that last lap again. Not only Busch made a little bit of a mistake, but Biffle had a good lap himself. Biffle in the wall. Off turn 2, that's going to mess his entry up into 3 as he's still trying to regather the race car. And whatever time Busch lost the lap before, he's going to gain some of it back, but not all of it on that following lap as Biffle dropped down to a 23.1. Second lap time, a little wide in turns 1 and 2 for Biffle again. 3 and 4 definitely his better corner of the 2 on the racetrack. Waller Dave through the different camera angles for the first time in the race today over the next 4 laps. Biffle leads Kyle Busch. and has led the first 35 laps of today's race back to the start-finish line. Trying to go wire to wire for the second Dover race this season and the second time total on this Busch Series season. He came into this race today having a chance to get to 2,000 laps led on the Busch Series season. Highly impressive considering this is only the 24th race of the year, and even more impressive considering that it's the Busch Series and there isn't as many laps in a race compared to the Cup Series. But he's looking for 2,000 laps led today. In order to do that, he needs to lead a grand total of 78 laps. 78 laps led today will get him to that marker. And with him leading every lap so far, he's definitely looking like he has a chance to do so, and potentially in the first half of tonight's race. Track position, huge at Dover, just like we saw with Darlington. A lot of tire wear on this racetrack as well, also just like Darlington, and this one's because of the concrete surface. Darlington just because it was bumpy and an older surface. This doesn't have as many years on it compared to Darlington in the 2004 season. The concrete will wear out a little bit more than the asphalt as far as the tire stents go, and as far as this race is concerned tonight. And we'll go to a bumpy Talladega on Friday night as well. Again, reminder, tomorrow night's live stream will start at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It'll be at the Nashville Superspeedway on Nascar 21 Ignition. We'll go back to our final season there for the first time in a few weeks. The first time in 2 weeks since we've played NASCAR 21 Ignition on the channel. I think we'll have some fun with it. Busch tends to fall back about 3 to 4 car lengths behind Biffle, then he gets to the back bumper of him again. Slowly but surely. He's put pressure on him twice to try and make the pass, but he hasn't even gotten alongside of him yet. I think if he could do that, especially if he gets to the inside of the 60, that's going to be all he needs to likely hang on to the bottom lane and eventually make the pass on Biffle. It is a fight for the bottom in the early going of this one. Comment in the chat down below, how many cautions do you think we're going to see in tonight's race at Dover? I'd like to see your guys' guesses and predictions down in the chat below. Busch drives it in deep into turn 3. Challenging Biffle for the lead for the first time in a little bit. Even though he's been there, definitely putting a lot more pressure on Biffle that last lap, but Biffle did not make a mistake. Scraped the wall a few times off turn 2. See if Busch could challenge him in that end of the track. He challenged him more in 3 and 4 a couple laps ago, and that's Biffle's best corner of the two. Looks like whoever's in 4th place has just caught the 3rd place car a little bit further back. A few seconds off the race leaders of Biffle and Busch. Almost a quarter of the way home. Definitely don't want a short pit at Dover. If we do end up going caution-free and, or at least a long enough green flag run to be able to make it within that one stop window. We get a caution before the window opens. Biffle's going to stay out no matter how many laps he has on his tires. Or at least that's likely going to be the case. He just doesn't want to pit and have everybody else stay out and lose the track position, even though he has at least one of the two faster cars in the field. It's tough to tell if Busch is exactly faster than Biffle or not. You never know if Busch could get around Biffle, if he could pull away, if he has the clean air. Which he has obviously not had yet today. Biffle holding tight, exits to the corners that last lap. And he has grown out to about a half a second lead on Kyle Busch. Still no lap traffic for the leaders yet, despite it being caution-free on a shorter racetrack so far. Over 50 laps in. I wonder if Kyle Busch hung on maybe a little bit too long. And maybe have used his tires up, knowing he doesn't really have the long run speed Biffle does, because Biffle's starting to pull away the last few laps. Our 0.6 of a second lead. Halfway on fuel at lap 55. Biffle's definitely starting to pull away from Busch. Busch is still hitting his marks. Biffle just ran his fastest lap, though, at lap 56. 22.818. I wonder if we're going to see 22.7 sometime in this race. That's impressive, knowing that we are halfway through the opening fuel and tire stint of this race. Still in the 22.8s pretty consistently. It's a 0.9 of a second lead now for Biffle over Busch. And growing. Now onto a 1 second lead off turn 2. Now it's at 22.812. Another fastest lap of the race for Biffle. He is in such a rhythm right now. Consistently pulling the 5 car. And now that there's no more pressure behind Biffle as well, maybe another reason that he is hitting his marks even that much better than what he already was before. Still have to find out how Biffle's car is going to handle in the dirty air. He's had nothing but clean air so far. And he's going to be catching lap traffic within the next few laps. And knowing Kyle Busch is just barely over 1 second off the race lead, you never know. Maybe Busch has something for Biffle if he can get through the lap traffic well. Lamorius Jordan, welcome to the stream. Lamorius Jordan, excuse me. I think I botched your name the first time. I think I added an extra A in there. We're about to catch lap traffic. Donnie Hart and Shane Kirkland will be the first two lap cars in front of Biffle into turns 3 and 4. Biffle's going to catch him. He's definitely in the dirty air now. Drives underneath Donnie Hart first and foremost and clears him with a clean pass and out to the inside of Kirkland on the front straightaway. So far so good through the first two lap cars of the race. This opening green flag run. You're messing up your name somehow. It's not that hard to pronounce. I just made a mistake. I took the quick glance and then I second guessed myself because I had to look back down. I was like, oh no, I said his name wrong. I know you were in the chat recently. I probably said your name right previously on the channel. I just didn't get it right the first time tonight. A lot heavier lap traffic still to come for Greg Biffle. Still sitting at just the two drivers that have blown their engines both before lap 20. We haven't seen any since. Lap 68 now. Again, we are still caution free. Dark Crypto, welcome to the stream. Right front tire starting to wear out a little bit more on the 60 car. Side lap traffic right in front of Biffle. Craig Miller chopped off the 60 car, trying to quickly get around the car. He was already to the inside of the 117. Biffle just 6 1/1000ths of a second off from his fastest lap of the race. On that last lap, despite having the side-by-side lap traffic in front of him. Tristan Heidenkamp, Wade Zielinski, and Derek Booth, welcome to the stream. This game does not actually have the beer sponsors. It still has the same paint schemes, but it actually just has their names on it. So, like, for the Miller Lite paint scheme for Rusty Wallace, it just says Rusty on it. Dale Jr., it says Dale Jr. instead of Bud. It's not like now where you can put the age verification in online. So if you verify your age that you can get the alcohol and beer sponsors. Didn't have that available because of this time period in NASCAR with the video game side of things, so does not show them. I don't think there's any in the Busch series anyway. Yeah, it is Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with all of you. Welcome to the stream, Ethan. Even in lap traffic, Biffle's getting through it pretty easily so far. Nothing but clean passes. He's opened up about a 2-second lead on Kyle Busch. Just slowly but surely getting away from him. Biffle has led the first 75 laps of the race this time by. Biffle is 3 laps away from his 2,000th lap lead of the season for the Busch Series. He's led over 3,000 laps in the Cup Series as well. He has just as many wins in the Cup side and more races than what he's ran in the Busch Series. Of course, again, not as many Cup Series regulars, obviously, in the Busch Series, so not as much competition. And even some races, he's the only Cup Series regular. Not tonight, though. That hasn't been the case for the last couple races as well. Yeah, I understand, Dark Crypto. I think it just has to do with the advertisement of it, you know, in and of itself, that they can't... The game is rated E for everyone. I believe if they would have rated it M for mature, then they could, but they don't want to do that because then kids aren't going to be able to actually buy the game on their own. So by making it E for everyone, literally anybody could buy the game. Kid could walk into his local GameStop, buy the game, because it's rated E for everyone. So that's pretty much the premises of it. But I completely understand what you're getting at. Welcome to the stream, Billy. Now to lap 80. So Biffle's led over 2,000 laps on the Busch Series season officially. Still 7 races to go following this one. Here today, we'll see how many more he can lead. Caution's out for the first time today at lap 81. Trouble in turns 1 and 2. So Mike Bliss looks to have spun, and he might have had contact from the car behind him. It was tough to tell for sure. But caution is out, and we are right at the edge of the pit window. I don't believe Biffle can make it from here. It's going to be interesting to see if he pits. And Biffle's going to pit. And everybody else stays out of the pit. So, boy, this is going to put Biffle back in traffic, and these are going to be the first laps he is not going to lead today. 4-tire stop, no adjustment for Greg Biffle. First yellow of the race. I need to get my water. I don't know why I put it so far away from me. Christian Heidenkamp, I see you in the chat. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Gonna have to pause it on the restart real quick so I can take a quick swig of water. There we go. Favorite Star Wars paint scheme is Gordon 2005. I don't really know of too many Star Wars paint schemes, to be completely honest. Honestly, didn't even know that one. Alrighty. So, Biffle's going to be short on fuel to the end of the race. He will have to pit again. Everybody else stayed out, likely for that reason. I think they were just trying to do opposite of Biffle as well to put him back in traffic for the first time today. Green flag back in the air at lap 85. Biffle's probably going to be about 6 laps short on fuel to the end of the race. And we're probably going to be seeing some cars pit in the next 5 to 10 laps. Kyle Busch is leading. Biffle has obviously 80 lap pressure tires than everybody else in the field. And already had one of the fastest cars, if not the fastest car. Probably did have the fastest car. Trouble! Biffle has crashed off of turn 2. They stacked up in front of him. He had nowhere to go. And that's going to put a big hole in the radiator of the 60 car. Got right into the left rear of J.J. Yaley, and that's the dangers of being back in traffic on a restart at Dover. Any track, really. It looked like the 50s, yeah, they were already crashing even before Biffle got into the back of him. He had nowhere to go. There were 3 cars sideways on the back straightaway, and he got into the back of Yaley, who was trying to check up. All it took was 1 caution to throw things off. Everybody going to stay out of the pits again. Greg Biffle's going to have to come back down again. He can't take fuel or tires here. And he's got 3.6 seconds of damage to repair after having a clean race up until then. Poisonous Frog, welcome to the stream as well. So back-to-back caution flags. Just shy of the halfway point in tonight's race at Dover. Lucky it wasn't DNF indeed. Remember, the next race is Talladega. So if this points gap gets narrowed down tonight, with Biffle back in traffic now, and with a little bit of damage, who knows if his car's even the fastest in the race anymore. Still has fresher tires than everybody else, so that will help. Green flag back in the air. A few more cars got back on the lead lap before the caution came out. Biffle's going to restart in 29th this time, and Kyle Busch still in the lead. Biffle gets a good jump on the restart this time, and he's going to make a pass quickly. A little contact in front of him off turn 2. Hopefully they don't wreck right in front of him again. You can only hope for the best. A lot of contact into turns 3 and 4 again, it looks like, as Biffle makes another pass for position. Staying low on the straightaways just in case something happens. 3 wide. Back in traffic right now. Still 3 wide. Contact with Buchanan. Into the wall. Caution again. 3rd of the race. And Biffle kind of caused it. So again, he's not going to be able to pit for fuel or tires, even though that we might be within the window now. That was a big hit for Buchanan. 2 hard hits. 1 into the outside wall and then hard into the inside wall again. They were 3 wide. Biffle just kind of overdrove it on the bottom of the racetrack. He clipped the apron and then bounced right back into Buchanan. So cautions are breeding cautions midway through the race. Already our 3rd now. And we'll see if the field will pit under the 3rd caution. The window may be open to the end. And it looks like everybody's staying out again. Biffle again can't pit for fuel or tires. 3.7 seconds of damage now. He's got to be careful here. It's not going well for him. Should probably be a little bit more patient on the restarts now. He's got bailed out twice that he hasn't DNF'd. Definitely didn't get the hardest lick in that accident, though. I'm not sure where Ron Hornaday is at in the running order. We haven't seen him at all yet today. Definitely hasn't led any laps. Again, Biffle's the only car that is pitted for fuel or tires. He's pitted during the first caution that was involved for Mike Bliss spinning in turns 1 and 2. He might have gotten turned off the front bumper of another race car. So already 3 more cautions than what we had in the first Dover race earlier this season. As we are at lap 95. And they're wrecking again! And this time there's no caution, but Biffle got into the back of the 119 car. I don't know who that was that stacked up. There were a lot of cars sideways again in the middle of the back straightaway heading towards the entrance of turn 3. Biffle had nowhere to go. Slammed into the back of the 119 car of Keith Grimsley. You can see the smoke there from the lap before. Oh, they're checking up again, and the 119 chops up to 60 of Biffle, not realizing he was there. Biffle is struggling in the back of the pack. Oh, and they're wrecking again! Oh my goodness, Eddie Hammock gets drilled by Biffle. The 10 car of Terry Cook was the one sideways that time. And new leader off turn 2, Ron Hornaday. They're making more contact on the backstretch. What is going on here? Hornaday will lead his first lap of the race. 5 bonus points for the 2 car. Caution's definitely helping him out. More contact off turn 4. Buchanan gets squeezed into the wall. Messiah Z, welcome to the stream. Biffle just gonna let the 2 cars in front of him go. He did not want to be 3 wide into turn 3 again. Wasn't sure if any of those cars were going to try to pit. He didn't want to get chopped down on. The good news is Biffle could stay out for a long period of time. maybe hope for a caution. And Brown trying to pit. And he's still trying to pit. Ran right into the side of Biffle. And he does make his way to pit road. Things were so good for Biffle until that first caution came out. And one caution led to another and led to another. And now he has damage and he's back in traffic. The first caution wasn't even his fault either, but it's just how it works sometimes. A couple stack-ups on the restarts. Not looking good. He's going to be on older tires compared to everybody else, too. And he can't make it on field at the end of this race. We have 100 laps to go. Ron Hornaday is in the pits right now. That'll give Bobby Hamilton Jr. his first lead of the race. He'll score 5 bonus points for leading the lap. Biffle led over the first 80 laps before he had pitted during the first caution flag at lap 82. So the good news is there's a good chance he's going to end up leading the most laps today, especially with having a few different leaders since then. Breaking up the laps a little bit more. And he did just get to the 2,000 lap lead mark before the caution started flying tonight. Still the top 3 have to pit. Wonder if Terry Cook's going to be on his way in this time. Looks like he is. And so is Bobby Hamilton Jr. So Greg Biffle will take over the race lead once again at Dover. Everybody else has made their green flag pit stop. Biffle still has to make his. And he's going to make it within the next few laps, so he has a chance to not lose that much time by staying out on older tires. He'll get a few more laps led in here to try to help solidify potentially leading the most laps in this one. It's going to be interesting to see where Ron Hornaday cycles out. He took the lead right before he pitted. I'm not sure if that's because Busch pitted before him or if he pitted before Busch. Ron Hornaday sponsors AC Delco in the number 2 car for Richard Childress Racing. And we'll have that trivia question once Biffle makes his pit stop, which Biffle will stay out this time by. He'll pit at lap 107. So again, the window is open to the end of the race. Everybody is good on fuel to the end except for the Biff, who will pit next lap. Which means he'll also end up leading this lap as well, so he gets back to the start-finish line. So Biffle will be on his way in. Very tough pit road to get onto. Second stop of the day for fuel and tires for Biffle. And he will not speed either. 4 tires and fuel. Make sure he'll buff out any more scratches from the prior restarts that he may have received and did receive. And now he's got to hope that the pit crew makes a clean stop. They've been pretty good as of late, both the Busch and the Cup Series. So drama midway through tonight's race at Dover after a pretty calm start for Greg Biffle through the first 82 laps. But once we had a caution, he pitted. Everybody else stayed out. Then we had cautions, breeding cautions on the restart, both involving Biffle in the next 2. And Ron Hornaday going to cycle out in the race lead. And he is second in points, 222 back of Greg Biffle. Biffle will cycle out of the pits. We'll see as they work their way into turn 3. Biffle will be 19th. And he is about 9.9 seconds behind with a little bit of damage on his race car. So I don't know if he has the fastest car in the field to be able to run him down. He's got 92 laps to try and run Hornaday down from about a little over a third of racetrack behind him. Again, with damage. And Hornaday, if he leads to the end of the race, if Hornaday does, he may have a chance to steal the most laps led as well. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be really close. I think Biffle's led about 86 or 87 laps today. I'm not sure how many he led under the caution before he pit. I think he's led 87 green flag laps. I'm not sure how many laps Kyle Busch led Bobby Hamilton led a couple. Busch definitely led during a few caution periods, 2 of the caution periods, so even though he hasn't led a lot of green flag laps, that's at least 6 caution laps. Biffle might have clinched the most laps led, even if Hornaday leads to the end. It'll be close. Tonight's trivia question on the channel is once again Dover related, with us running at Dover tonight, and the NASCAR Xfinity and Cup Series was at Dover this last weekend. Tonight's trivia question on the channel is, who is the only driver in the last decade to win a NASCAR Xfinity Series race qualifying outside the top 10 at Dover? So who is the only driver to win an Xfinity race at Dover qualifying outside the top 10 in the last decade? Decade, of course, 10 years. That is tonight's trivia question on the channel. And I'll give you guys till lap 125. Try and answer correctly, no hints for tonight's question. A lot of 3 wide passes for Greg Biffle. Trying to desperately get through traffic, and he does. He only got 1 spot out of it. Most of it was lap cars that he just passed, and he's up to 18th. It is not Kyle Busch. It is not Josh Berry. Berry qualified in the top 10 this last weekend. It is not Joey Logano either. Sam Mayer is not one at Dover in the Xfinity Series. I don't think he has an Xfinity win in general yet. It's not Denny Hamlin. Oh, big loose moment for Hermie Sadler in the middle of turns 1 and 2. Biffle's back inside the top 15 right now, and Sadler just got in the wall off turn 2. Some of that might have been just getting loose in the middle of the corner. It's not Ty Gibbs. It's not Carl Edwards. Looks like Hornaday's got a pretty decent-sized lead right now and a lot of clean air around him. It is not Kevin Harvick. Biffle diving it in deep on Terry Cook into turns 1 and 2. Has the line, holds it, and passes Cook for position. Nixon for position as well. Biffle gets around him on the backstretch for 13th. It is not Justin Allgaier, AJ Allmendinger, or Brad Keselowski. All 3 of those were wrong as well. There it is. Derek Booth gets the answer to tonight's trivia question. Austin Cindric is the only driver in the last decade to win a NASCAR Xfinity Series race at Dover, qualifying outside the top 10. So Austin Cindric is the answer to tonight's trivia question. That took place, I believe, last season at Dover. Matt Kenseth just got in the wall off turn 2. Looks like he's going to lose another spot. They're losing one to Biffle this lap as well. I'll make sure I incorporate the trivia question on the live stream for the actual race this weekend when I'm doing the live commentary. I meant to do it this last weekend at Dover and I forgot about it. Biffle's still running 22.8s even in traffic. He's back inside the top 10 and up to 9th place right now, trying to rally after losing track position. earlier in the race. Trying to get to the inside of Menard. Menard blocking him on the front stretch. Likely battling for the 8th place position. Casey Atwood and Billy Parker right in front of him. Parker involved in that first accident earlier. Biffle with a very low exit off turn 2 to get to the inside of Menard. Menard trying to squeeze him into 3. Biffle makes the clean pass for 8th. Stiff for the Biffle. Get by the hard for Menard crew. Biffle going 3 wide into turn 1 with a big dive bomb now underneath of both Billy Parker and Casey Atwood. 3 wide. Parker's in the wall and may have had contact with the 14 of Atwood as well. And that's going to allow Paul Menard to get by both Atwood and Parker following Biffle after the contact between the 14 and the 86 up high. 75 laps to go in tonight's race. And we continue to stay green. 3 cautions so far in this one today. All in the first half of the race. And all between laps 82 and 96. Back to back to back, they all kind of fell. And we're already on our second longest green flag run of the day after going 82 laps caution free to start things out. So it'll be a 105 lap green flag run to the finish if we do stay green to the end. Biffle is about 5.5 seconds behind Hornaday after losing that track position, trying to get it back. He had the fastest car in the field earlier today before the first caution waved. Had a bit of damage, though, in 2 of the caution flags that transpired after the first one because of the restarts and the stacking up. And the guy he's trying to catch is the one trying to chase Biffle in the point standings, Ron Hornaday. And Talladega is the next race on Friday night for this Busch Series season as well. So it is crucial for Biffle to try to get up there and make sure Hornaday doesn't gain any points tonight. 190 points is the most amount you could score in a single race if you lead the most laps and you win the race. As that is also worth noting. Eddie Hammock in the 119 car, right in front of Greg Biffle. Remember, Biffle got into the back of Hammock twice on the last restart, and that's why Hammock is a rival of Greg Biffle right now. A couple stack-ups in the first couple laps off the last restart. And Hammock is not going to race Greg Biffle nicely. Biffle to the inside of Hammock in turns 1 and 2. And Biffle gets by him very quickly, clears him off turn 2. Surprised Hammock did not take a swing at Biffle. Biffle is very appreciative of it. Biffle got around him quick, cleanly. Hammock surprisingly raced him cleanly. Caution is out for the 4th time today. And this will bunch the field back up. J.J. Yaley, oh man, hard hit for Yaley off of turn 4. He almost barrel rolled after that hit. Right side tires came up off the ground after sliding into the wall, getting loose off of turn 4. Everybody else misses him as he slides to the inside, retaining wall on the front stretch as well. Oh, and it looked like the leaders pit. I think we had some cars pit there. So split strategy now. Some cars pit, some stay out. Green flag back in the air. Biffle got it in the back of Hamilton on the restart, and that spun his tires. Biffle stuck on the outside as well, off turn 2. Gonna lose a spot. So somebody pit because Biffle was in 6th when the caution came out. Now he's in, or was in 5th on the restart. Now he's back to 7th as he's still stuck on the outside and nearly gets turned off turn 4. I think Ashton Lewis tried to pull in line behind him, and he made a great save on the inside of the racetrack. Tremendous save from Greg Biffle. He just can't stay out of harm's way on these restarts today. Doesn't help he's been middle of the pack on every single one of them. The field being bunched back together definitely going to help him, though. He was 5 seconds off the lead when the caution came out. Now he's less than less than a second and a half off the lead. The Talladega live stream Friday night will be at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tomorrow night's live stream will be at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Nashville Super Speedway on Nascar 21 Ignition. Oscar Ramirez Herrera, welcome to the stream. Yeah, Greg Biffle was my favorite driver in NASCAR. Before he retired. In my younger years. Biffle to the inside of Yaley. All the cars he's passed since the restart were lap cars. Yaley pinching Greg Biffle off in turn 3. Yaley spun, bringing out the last yellow. Still hanging on to a top 10 position. That was after a hard lick, too. Kyle Busch stuck on the outside after leading laps earlier in the day and challenging Biffle for the lead for a large part of the first quarter of the race. And Biffle has cleared Busch for 5th. Now to the inside of the 25. The Darlington race starts at 3:30. Our live stream will start at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next week. Or this weekend, excuse me, on Sunday. Biffle up to 4th. It's a good thing that caution came out. I don't think he was going to have a shot at the lead as soon as he has. Definitely could have ran him down earlier. Like Atwood and Harvick might have made contact off turn 4, but they did not lose sight of the 2. Hornaday continues to lead, trying to fend off his teammate and Cup Series regular Kevin Harvick, who we won the championship with in the first Busch Series season on this game. Oh, Casey Atwood in 3rd place right now. Great restart to get him up to here. 58 laps to go at Dover. We've had 4 yellows today. Have we seen the last? Answer that down in the comment section below. Biffle slides off turn 2, gets to the inside of Atwood for 3rd. Deep dive into turn 3. Atwood pinches him off. Biffle slides up the racetrack. Lost a lot of momentum. Has to sit in line behind Atwood off turn 4. There's no contact. Definitely close quarters racing going on right now, though. Yeah, Biffle is back, though. Back out of retirement. Part-time for the Cup Series. Biffle makes a clean pass on Atwood for 3rd that time. And the RCR duo that runs 1-2 of Hornaday and Harvick. Right there, top 3, all Busch Series champions at one point in their NASCAR careers. And they're all challenging right now for the race lead at Dover. Late in the season, 2 of which running for the championship. Harvick, though, is not. Biffle can't get to the inside of Harvick there. He almost gets to the inside of Hornaday. Almost too wide of an entry into turn 1 for the 2 car. Nearly gave up the lead. Atwood's losing pace from the top 3 in front of him. Biffle to the inside of Harvick in turn 1. And Biffle is up to 2nd off of turn 2. But now can he get around the driver with the clean air, being Ron Hornaday in the 2 car? He'll look low into 3. Beats him there. That did not take long at all. Biffle is out in front off turn 4. And Hornaday's in the wall off of turn 4. And Harvick's to 2nd. 53 to go. Harvick hasn't led yet today, but he's trying to lead now. Battling Biffle. Biffle, the big block on the backstretch. Harvick sends it into 3. He's on the bottom of the track. Side by side off of turn 4. Biffle trying to side draft the 21 car on the front stretch. Great pass. Kevin Harvick leads at Dover for the first time. And now he's trying to block the 60 all the way down to the inside of the racetrack. Harvick overdrives the corner. He's almost in the wall. And Biffle is going to get around him with Harvick's mistake. And Harvick's in the wall off turn 4. He blew the corner so badly, he had no chance to hold on to it off the exit. He makes the mistake as soon as he took the lead from Biffle. The first lap of having the lead. Trying to throw a block and it backfired. He didn't make contact in 60. It was a clean block, but he drove in way too flat into 3. And gave the lead right back up. And with 50 to go, Biffle's back in the hot seat. And now Biffle just overdrove turns 1 and 2, and he put himself in the wall. Hornaday to the inside of Harvick for 2nd. Hornaday trying to get around the points leader. All three of these guys are making mistakes all over the place. Tracking under pressure, it seems. And Harvick back to the inside of the 2 car in turns 3 and 4. And Harvick should take over second. Oh, 21 goes a bit wide that time, almost got into the 2. It's going to cost him a little bit of time to Harvick, or to Biffle rather, in turns 1 and 2. Biffle going to pull him a bit. We'll alternate through the different camera angles one final time in today's race. And now Biffle has finally clinched the most laps led with less than 50 to go in today's race. Remember, there were some drivers that pitted during the last caution that have fresher tires, and I wonder if any of them are going to have a shot to try and run down the leaders. Considering, though, that we have about 30 cars on the lead lap, I'm not sure if they're going to have enough time to do it, unless we see a few more yellows in this race. You can see Kevin Harvick, oh, right there, Biffle in the wall. Harvick, though, can't capitalize on the mistake Biffle made that last lap. And Hornaday gets to the inside of the 21 car. I wonder if Harvick might have checked up behind the 60 after Biffle got into the wall off turn 2. Definitely been a more challenging race for Biffle to try and win compared to the first race at Dover this season where he led all 200 laps. He had just as fast of a race car out of the gate, but the damage after the caution is 2 and 3 after he was back in traffic from the first yellow. And then we had a 4th caution after everybody was good on field at the end. Some of them still pitted for fresh tires, trying to come from the back of the lead lap. 43 laps to go. It's a 3-car race, and don't forget Kyle Busch back at 4th was challenging and has led laps today as well. Trying to close on the top 3 who may be using their equipment up. Michelle Marie, Cave Miller, welcome to the stream. 15 likes on the stream right now. We've had up to 16 people watching over the last couple of laps. Thanks for everybody tuning in on this Wednesday night. NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005 Busch Series Racing. It's been a good race so far. If we stay green to the end of the race, I wonder if they'll catch lap traffic before the end. Biffle has a really good long-run car. The longer this run goes, the better he may be. Though that could be different, though, with a little bit of damage on the front of the car that he sustained during the last 2 cautions. A little bit of a scare, though, mid-race for sure for Greg Biffle and maybe the Biffle fans in the chat. He may have looked as if he was going to lose points to Hornaday. Biffle's as far back as 19th. Hornaday was leading at one point with less than 80 laps to go. Caution bunched the field back up again, and Biffle has now charged the lead since the restart within the last 15 laps. Trying to take control of this race once again with 39 to go. Busch is working on Hornaday for 3rd. Hornaday coming off a runner-up finish in last night's race at Darlington, where Biffle had won. And also remember, Greg Biffle's trying to go for 5 wins in a row in the Busch Series today. What a streak. Looked like he was going to have an easy-going race today. That's why anything could happen, though. All it took was that one caution and it just threw the whole race off its original strategy. Went from a 1-stopper to a 2-stopper for Biffle and some of the other drivers as well. I definitely know that Busch isn't on fresher tires. Everybody in the top 4 all stayed out during that last caution. Again, there were about 30 cars on the lead lap, so the few that did pit including one of the drivers that was in the top 5 when the caution came out. Have a long ways to go to try to get up here. They'll have about 30 lap fresher tires. That will make a difference at Dover. Track position also means a lot at Dover. That's a lot of cars to pass, especially with the single file restarts. And the lap cars, the inside of the lead lap cars, so really they're going to have to pass almost every car in the field. Cars One Boy, welcome to the stream. Exactly, anything could happen in a full race. Billy's Rangers scoreless top 9. My Tigers were winning. I don't know if they won the first game of their doubleheader or not today. I was at work. But I know they were leading the second game when I started the live stream. Got rained out last night and ended up having a doubleheader versus the Pirates today. I believe they take on the Astros this weekend. On the road. Well, not pulling away by any means, but he's starting to be a little bit more consistent than he was battling for the lead. The leaders, he's settling in. He's got the game face on, and he's really hoping it stays green to the end of the race. He doesn't want the lap cars in the inside lane to dictate the restart. Biffle did not have a good restart. Well, really, any of the 3 restarts have not been good for Biffle so far today. May have overdrove turn 1 a little bit. He entered a bit flatter than what he had recently, and he had to use a little bit more brake input trying to make the corner, and Harvick gained about a half a car length on him. Wasn't much. Definitely was a little bit. Now that they've settled in, though, it's been so hard to pass the leader today that it's definitely going to take a mistake for Harvick to be able to get around Biffle. Unless he can get to the bumper and try to bump and run move. Harvick has won 2 Cup Series races on this NASCAR 05 custom schedule season slate, but he has not won any of the Busch Series races he's ran in so far this season, so he's looking for his first Busch win. He obviously hasn't run anywhere close to all the races in the Busch Series. Still looking for his first on this side of things. Martel Antoine, welcome to the stream. Kyle Busch and Ron Hornaday starting to lose a little bit of ground as they've battled for 3rd for the last handful of laps, and it's allowing Biffle and Harvick to pull away. So maybe between the 2 Cup Series regulars, the 2 Busch Series regulars trailing behind him are definitely losing time. We'll say with the damage, Biffle's been nowhere close to that 22.812 he ran earlier in the race during that first fuel and tire stint. Even though he's got clean air right now, he's about a 1/10.5 slower. Granted, he does have about 40 lap older tires right now as well, but considering that he ran that lap midway through the fuel and tire window on the opening green flag run of the race, though, and we're about that point right now, he's definitely dropped off at pace a little bit, but obviously still quick enough to compete for the win. And he has 25 more laps and 25 more miles to try and hang on in front of Harvick. We've had 4 cautions in this race. That's the most we've had in quite a while in the Busch Series on the channel. Left a little bit of the bottom open that time, but Harvick couldn't fill the gap. 21 and 60. Remember, Harvick and Biffle were rivals at one point earlier in their NASCAR Cup Series careers. Right around the 2004 time period. I think it was in 2002 they had their... No, it wasn't 02 because Biffle wasn't in the Cup Series yet, but they definitely had their run-ins around this time period. Who knows? We'll see if it'll come down to that again today. Well, Harvick overdrove 1 and 2 pretty badly. Biffle made a mistake himself off turn 4, but not enough of one for Harvick to get underneath him. Right front tire really starting to wear out on Greg Biffle's number 60 Ford Charter car. Roush Fenway Racing. You had an RCR Chevrolet versus a Roush Fenway Ford at the front of the field. And then third place starting to close in. I think it's Kyle Busch. I think Busch finally got around Hornaday, and he's starting to close in on the top two a little bit, even though the top two haven't really battled with each other. Harvick can't just sit and wait too long, though. Again, we get a caution super late enough in this race it could end the race under green flag conditions. Again, though, Biffle made a bit of a mistake off turn 2. There's one area of the track he struggled today. If any, it has been off the exit of turn 2. But Harvick just hasn't really been able to capitalize on the minor mistakes Biffle has made since taking the race lead again about 30 laps ago. He's got to be looking for, though, as a chance to use the bumper, you'd have to imagine. Biffle trying to keep his streak alive. To make it 5 in a row in the Busch Series. And to make it 7 of the last 9 to go to victory lane in the Busch Series as well. Harvick just got back in the gas a bit too soon off turn 4. I think he kept it off the wall, though. Definitely trying to carry as much speed as he can. Seemed like he did close on Biffle in 1 and 2 again that time. Biffle never made a mistake. Biffle's actually picked up his lap times a little bit, too. He was in the 23.1s, 23.2s consistently. He ran a 23.0 that last lap. 22.9 that lap, so Biffle's trying to pick it up. And he has been, but Harvick's right there with him still. Who knows, Harvick could be running his fastest laps of the race. We really don't know that for sure right now. These guys are definitely on older tires, though. That we do know. These guys are going to finish this race off on about 80 to 90 lap old tires of those who did not pit during that last caution. Which we definitely know is at least the top 4 as they run. Oh, Biffle had to lift off turn 4 to keep it off the wall. That was a mistake for sure. He hasn't really made a mistake in that end of the racetrack much today. And Harvick goes about 2 to 3 car lengths up the lead. And now again, he's to the back bumper of Biffle. Heading into turn 3 this time. You can see the lap cars up ahead. Looks like Harvick lost a little bit more ground in 3 and 4 again that time. I don't know if they're going to catch the lappers, though. 13 laps still remain. Biffle back that lap up with a 23.019 for making a mistake the lap before that. And then this lap is right back in the 22-second lap barrier of a 22.959. Biffle out to about a 0.3 of a second lead. And he's put about 3 to 4 car lengths on Harvick again off turn 2. (22.902) that last lap for Biffle. And a half a second lead over the 21 of Harvick. 22.914 the following lap. Biffle running his fastest laps of this current fuel and tire stint since the last pit stop. Still about a tenth off of where he has been at his fastest in the race. But it's fast enough now on this old of tires that it is allowing him to slowly pull away from Kevin Harvick. The question for the trivia tonight was, who was the only driver to qualify outside the top 10 in the Xfinity Series at Dover and win within the last decade? And the answer to the question was Austin Cindric. For those of you that might have missed it. Saw Alan ask it in the comment section. And Harvick's losing ground. He's almost in desperate need of a caution now. About 0.8 of a second off the lead, either that or for Biffle to catch lap cars. But we only have 7 laps to go, so if we get a yellow, he's not going to have too many laps left with a restart. It'd be better than nothing, and if it comes a few laps too late, the race could end under a caution. We haven't had that happen yet this season on the Truck, Busch, or the Cup Series. We did have a 1-lap green-white checkered finish at Daytona. That's the closest we probably had to a race ending under a yellow this season. A few other late cautions in all 3 series as well. That one was probably the latest of any of the series. That caution came out with 5 to go, and right now at the line, Biffle leads with 5 laps to go. And Harvick continues to lose Biffle. He's 1.2 seconds off the lead in 1 and 2. And Biffle might have picked his times up a little bit, but Harvick just seems to have fallen off in the final 15 laps. I think he might have used his tires up a little bit too much in the run before that. And just doesn't quite have enough momentum carried up. 4 to go. Again, there's a lot of lap traffic coming up that Biffle's going to maybe catch. He'd have to catch him within the next 2 laps if Harvick's even going to have a shot to gain 1.2 seconds. Considering Harvick's going to have to pick his pace up. And I just don't see that happening. 3 to go now. .4 second lead for the Biff. It's going to be 5 wins in a row in the Busch Series. And it's going to be 16 wins total on the Busch Series season for Greg Biffle. He got back in the 22.8s for the first time during this green flag run that last lap. Looks like he's going to catch the lap cars off turn 2 this time. It's a 2x2. Next lap car is the 119 of Eddie Hammock, not Keith Grimsley. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go off of turn 4. Final lap of the race. Biffle in lap traffic, getting around him fairly quickly. The inside of Eddie Hammock, looking to just stay out of his way in turns 3 and 4. Hammock crowds him a little bit. A little unnecessary there, but Biffle holds on regardless. Checkered flag waving off turn 4. Greg Biffle will sweep Dover and pick up his 16th win of the Busch Series season. And a max points day for the 2nd straight Busch Series race. And that is going to pick up a bigger points lead heading into Friday night at Talladega. 7 races to go to crowning a Busch Series champion. Biffle leads the points. And we'll check out those point standings after we get through tonight's finishing results in a matter of moments. Green and white checker rule started in 2004. That is true, but it started midway through the season. So when this game came out, it was only a thing in the Truck Series. So the race could have ended under yellow in the Cup and the Busch Series in this game. Once we get to NASCAR 06 in a few weeks, that won't be the case. We'll have at least one attempt, at least in the Cup. In the Truck Series, I don't know if the Busch Series, if it may end under yellow or not. I'm unaware of that rule. I guess we'll just have to find out and see if it ends up coming into play at all once the time comes. We'll check out tonight's finishing results. 1 hour 33 minutes to get tonight's 200-mile, 200-lap race at Dover in. 4 cautions for 12 caution laps, 12 lead changes. 2 seconds was the margin of victory tonight for Greg Biffle. 128.74 miles an hour is the average race speed. Biffle leads the most laps with 140 of 200 laps led today. Kevin Harvick did get 1 lap led, and then he ended up blowing turn 3 trying to block Greg Biffle. Biffle never made any contact with him, but Harvick just overran the corner and put himself to the wall, and Biffle led every lap within the final 50 to the end of the race from there. Kyle Busch goes on to finish in 3rd with 11 laps led. Ron Hornaday led 44 laps today, finishing in 4th. Paul Menard led 1 lap as well during green flag pit stops and rounded out the top 5. Bobby Hamilton Jr. led 2 laps during green flag pit stops. He was the 6th place finisher. Matt Kenseth was 7th with no laps led. J.J. Yaley came back after spinning, bringing out that last caution with about 60 laps to go, and he ends up finishing in 8th place still. Mark Martin, another Cup regular, finishes 9th, and Casey Atwood, who was in the top 3 late, actually fell back to 10th in the final 50 laps of the race, but still scores a top 10 finish. Quite a few drivers finished on the lead lap with all the cautions we had today. It looks like we had 22 drivers finish on the lead lap. Mike Bliss led 1 lap during green flag pit stops. It looked like he also wrecked earlier in the race. He was the first yellow. And we'll see you all DNF. Dwayne Borland, Darrell Bradford, and Ashton Lewis were the 3 drivers who blew an engine in tonight's race. So 3 engine failures last night at Darlington in a 200-mile race, and 3 tonight at Dover, it looks like, as well. NASCAR 06, we will have 1 attempt at green, white, checkered, Trucks, Busch, and Cup Series. All right, thanks for that, Michael. And the Aaron's 312, I guess the Talladega 312, because we already raced the Aaron's 312 at Dega earlier this year, but the Talladega 312 will be the next race on the Busch Series schedule, and it will be Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be streaming tomorrow night on the channel at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll go back to NASCAR 21 Ignition for the first time in a couple weeks, and for the first time in 3 weeks on the final season of NASCAR 21 Ignition there with my driver Ryan Blaney. And I believe we have just 10 races to go in the regular season championship heading into Nashville, which is my worst track on the game. The AI are just really fast there. I keep it on champion difficulty. I don't change the difficulty. Sometimes I go to expert if the track is too easy, but obviously this one is super, super hard. So it will be staying at champion difficulty, and I'll be lucky to just not finish. If I finish in the top 30, knowing how slow I'm going to be tomorrow night, that's going to be a miracle. But you never know. Stages are on. Cautions play our way. Pit strategy could become a factor. So I'm not going to give up before the race starts, but I will say it will be difficult. But I'll see you guys tomorrow night for that. We'll check the point standings, though, before we end tonight's stream. And I can't wait to golf tomorrow. I went to golf after work today, and the golf course was closed. We had a lot of rain yesterday, but it actually wasn't flooded. At least it didn't look like it. The creek wasn't up very high, so I don't know what the deal was there. The only other thing I could think of is maybe they were out of power. That's possible. Considering that there were power lines down from the tornado warning and the weather that we had yesterday evening. That's the only thing I could think of, but hopefully I can golf tomorrow with being off of work. It's supposed to be 65 and sunny, so I really hope I can. That, and it's supposed to rain again on Friday too, so definitely got to get it in tomorrow. 247-point lead for Greg Biffle over Ryan Hornaday. Back-to-back top 5s for Hornaday, but unfortunately Biffle has won with max points days in both those races, so Biffle still gradually grows the lead out. It looks like today he gained 25 points on Hornaday, so not much despite winning the race. And again, leading the most laps, getting the max points today. But the next race is Talladega, and last time we were at Talladega on the Busch Series season, finished outside the top 30. Last time we were at Daytona in the Busch Series season, finished outside the top 30. So 2 finishes outside the top 30 in the last 2 super speedways on the season. And we did win the first super speedway race at Daytona in the start of the year. So we could either win tomorrow or we could finish dead last with the DNF I have no clue how tomorrow is, Friday night is going to go, and just have to wait and see. We could have a close points battle again. If we survive Talladega, that means we'll have 6 races to go, and if I have a 1-race lead in the point standings with 6 to go, I'll feel very confident that I can at least get top 5s, even if Hornet Ace wins out, to at least get the championship from then on out. So definitely have to survive Dega. It's going to be a pivotal point in trying to win this championship. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Have a good rest of your Wednesday night. Happy Star Wars Day.